footballquizbanter.com. Save your breath for the comments.
Right, today we're really diving deep. We're looking at some huge, contrasting stories shaking up the football world.
Absolutely. It's a real mix. We've got the finance side, the ethical and political side, and then the on-the-ground reality of the game.
Exactly. First up, the jaw-dropping cost of the 2026 World Cup for fans. I mean, the numbers are just something else.
They really are. And then, moving into much heavier territory, a really serious international push for UEFA to ban Israel.
Yeah. Based on some very strong legal arguments and reports, we'll unpack that carefully.
And then bringing it back home, a roundup of UK domestic news managers, players, injuries.
And some serious weather trouble impacting fixtures, especially up in Scotland. Storm Amy's causing chaos.
It really is. So our mission today, as always, is to cut through the noise, give you the context, the details from the sources, and hopefully leave you feeling properly informed.
Definitely. There's a lot to get through. But before we tackle those World Cup ticket prices, just a quick heads up for you. If you're after more fun, engaging football quizzes, banter, news, updates, all that good stuff, make sure you head over to footballquizbanter.com.
Yeah, great place to test your knowledge, keep up to date, always worth a visit.
Okay, let's get into it. Part 1, the 2026 World Cup price tag. Right, the USA, Mexico, Canada World Cup.
We've been waiting for concrete details on costs, and now, well, we have them, thanks to the Football Supporters Association, the FSA.
They've been digging into the FIFA presale ballot data, looking at reports like those in the New York Times, and the picture emerging is, well, astonishing is the word the FSA used.
And it feels appropriate. We're
Yeah.
talking about costs that could genuinely change who can even think about going to a World Cup.
Completely. It shifts it from a dream trip for many dedicated fans to something almost exclusively for the wealthy, it seems. Let's start with the biggest game, the final. It's set for Giant Stadium in New Jersey. Based on that pre-sale data from FIFA Collect Analytics, the average ticket price currently stands at, get this,
$3,945.
$3,945. Average. And like you said, host speaker, you're applying for this ticket before you even know if your team's made it past the group stage, let alone the final.
It's a huge gamble, but that average hides an even wider range, doesn't it? The New York Times broke down the categories for the final.
They did. And even the quote-unquote cheapest option, Category 4, that starts at $2,030.
$2,000 for the cheapest seat.
Yep. Then Category 3 jumps to $2,790. Category 2 is a massive leap to $4,210.
And if you want the best seat, Category 1.
You're looking at $6,730 for one ticket to one match.
That is just mind-blowing. $2,000 for the lowest category seat at a final your team might not even be in. It fundamentally changes the commitment required.
Absolutely. But it's not just the final, is it? The group stage prices are also showing some pretty wild variations. Yeah, this seems to be where the multi-host country setup really impacts fans' wallets. The FSA findings show a big difference depending on where the game is.
Exactly. So the cheapest average price for a group game ticket they found was down in Monterrey, Mexico, about $197.42, which, is still a fair bit, but maybe more in line with expectations.
Relatively speaking, yeah. But compare that to Los Angeles.
Right. The average for group games in LA, $615.50.
Wow. So more than triple the price just for being in a different host city, potentially just a few hundred miles away.
That's the reality of it. And if you dig into the specific U.S. group game price categories the NYT reported.
Let's do that. Category 1 in the U.S. group games.
Ranging from $410 up to $620.
Okay. Category 2.
$310 to $465.
Category 3.
$140 to $215.
And the lowest, Category 4, the one they always highlight for affordability.
That's listed as $60 to $105.
$60. That sounds almost reasonable in this context.
It sounds reasonable, but here's the crucial point the NYT reporting picked up on, and the FSA is hammering home. Those $60 tickets, they were described as almost impossible to find. Yeah. Confined mostly to, the very top corners of the stadiums. The vast majority of tickets, regardless of the category or round, are going to cost you hundreds of dollars.
So the affordable option is barely an option at all.
Functionally, it seems that way. It feels like it's being squeezed out by dynamic pricing, by scarcity, by the sheer demand.
Which brings us back to the Football Supporters Association and their Free Lions Fans Embassy team, the ones who help traveling England fans. They're calling these prices astonishing.
And their biggest worry is that pre-commitment risk we talked about. Paying $2,000 for the cheapest final ticket on the off chance your team gets there. They called it an unbelievable outlay.
It's asking ordinary fans, the ones who save for years, to basically make a speculative investment.
Precisely. And they did the maths. If an England fan somehow manages to get lucky and secure a Category 4 ticket, the cheapest kind for every single match England could play, from the first group game right through to the final.
Assuming they get the tickets, which is a big assumption.
The huge assumption. But if they did, the minimum cost just for the tickets would be $3,180, at least.
$3,180 minimum, just for match tickets.
And here's the killer comparison from the FSA. That figure is more than double what Qatar cost.
Wow. And Qatar was hardly cheap. Plus, Qatar had that centralization aspect.
Exactly. Qatar, for all its controversies, was logistically simpler for fans. You could base yourself in or near Doha for the whole tournament.
Whereas 2026, you're potentially flying between, what, 3 massive countries? USA, Mexico, Canada, different hotels, different cities, huge distances.
The travel costs, the accommodation costs, they're going to be astronomical on top of these ticket prices.
So when the FSA says this will be the most expensive World Cup for match-going fans we've ever seen by some distance, it sounds absolutely believable.
It feels like an understatement, almost.
Yeah.
It's potentially pricing out that traditional dedicated traveling support base.
The ones who create the atmosphere.
The very ones.
Yeah.
And that leads to the FSA's next big concern and what they're lobbying the English FA about.
Which isn't just about the price, is it? It's about the experience inside the stadium.
Correct. They're really worried about ticket allocation for the actual participating nations. Specifically, will supporters groups get those blocks of tickets behind the goals?
The areas where the core support traditionally gathers. The singing section.
Yes, those are crucial for generating that unique World Cup atmosphere, that wall of sound and color.
But the fear is...
The fear is that the national associations might just be allocated those hard-to-get upper-tier Category 4 tickets, maybe stuck up in the corners.
Which the FSA called a drastic change that would have a serious impact on the match day atmosphere.
Absolutely. So their demand to FIFA, via the FA and other national bodies, is twofold. One, guarantee a decent allocation of the lowest-priced tickets for fans of the competing teams.
Make the cheap seats genuinely available to the actual fans.
Yes. And crucially, make sure those allocations aren't subject to the crazy dynamic pricing variations between host cities. And two,
guarantee where those tickets are located.
Bingo. Guarantee that a good chunk of those cheaper tickets are located behind the goals, where the atmosphere is generated.
It's a fundamental clash, isn't it? The commercial drive for maximum revenue versus preserving the soul of the tournament.
It really is. And speaking of ethics, governing bodies, and difficult questions, that takes us neatly, if uncomfortably, into our next major topic.
Okay, shifting gears now from financial pressures to some really heavy geopolitical and ethical questions facing UEFA.
Yeah, this is complex. There is significant news regarding the Israel Football Association, or IFA, and a major international call for its suspension from European competitions.
This isn't just fan groups protesting, is it? This has more weight behind it.
Considerably more. We're talking about a formal letter sent directly to UEFA President Alexander Seferin, and it's signed by over 30 legal experts and former United Nations officials.
Okay, that's significant. And what's the basis for their demand?
They are demanding an immediate and complete ban on Israeli football participation in UEFA competitions. And they're grounding this demand in international law and findings.
Specifically.
Your letter explicitly references a report by UN investigators which, controversially, concluded that Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians. That's the legal foundation they're using.
That's obviously an incredibly serious charge. Are they linking it directly to football?
Yes, they are. They argue that the ongoing conflict and Israeli military actions are having a devastating direct impact on Palestinian football.
How so? Do they provide specifics?
They do. The source material we've seen details that since October 2023, at least 421 Palestinian footballers have been killed.
421, that's shocking.
It is. And beyond the human cost, the letter argues that Israel's bombing campaign is, quote, systematically destroying Gaza's football infrastructure.
So stadiums, training grounds.
Exactly. Wiping out facilities, effectively destroying, as they put it, an entire generation of athletes and crippling the future of the sport there.
And how do they connect this back to the Israel Football Association and UEFA?
The argument in the letter is that the IFA's failure to challenge these actions or speak out against them makes its continued participation in UEFA competitions untenable.
They're suggesting complicity.
The letter uses the term complicit and accuses the IFA of engaging in sports washing, essentially. using participation in prestigious European football to normalize actions condemned elsewhere.
Now, the people behind this letter, they're pointing to historical precedents, aren't they? Suggesting a double standard from FIFA and UEFA.
They absolutely are.
Right.
This is a key part of their argument. They highlight clear examples where football's governing bodies have taken swift action based on state actions or international condemnation.
Such as?
The big historical one is FIFA suspending apartheid South Africa back in 1961. That set a major precedent.
And more recent.
The obvious one is Russia. Following the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, both FIFA and UEFA suspended Russian teams pretty much immediately within days.
So the argument is, if they acted decisively against Russia, why not against Israel, given the severity of the UN findings cited?
That's precisely the point the letter makes. It accuses UEFA of dragging their feet on Israel while acting swiftly against Russia, framing it as hypocrisy when dealing with what they term a full-blown genocide by a regime certified as practicing apartheid. Strong language reflecting the legal basis they claim.
And there's another layer to this regarding FIFA rules, predating the current conflict, isn't there? About settlements.
Yes, that's right. This isn't a new issue entirely. For years, advocates have pointed out that several Israeli professional clubs are based in legal settlements in the occupied West Bank.
And why is that a problem under FIFA rules?
Because FIFA's own statutes, Article 71, Paragraph 2, I believe state that a member association, like the IFA, can't play matches on the territory of another member association, in this case Palestine, whose FA is also a FIFA member, without that association's approval.
Which they presumably don't have for games in the West Bank settlements.
Exactly. So technically, it's been a violation of FIFA statutes for years, but one that has largely been, well, overlooked or allowed to continue.
Just to recap the context, Israel joined UEFA back in 1994, didn't they? Partly because of boycotts from neighbors in Asia.
That's correct. Geopolitical reasons forced them to look towards Europe, and they've been participating in UEFA competitions ever since teams like Maccabi Tel Aviv, Maccabi Haifa are familiar names in the Champions League and Europa League.
Now, what has FIFA itself said about this situation recently?
FIFA President Gianni Infantino has taken a somewhat hands-off stance publicly. He made a statement saying that FIFA cannot solve geopolitical problems.
Which sounds pragmatic, maybe? Or evasive, depending on your view.
Critics would certainly say evasive. The source material also notes Infantino's close relationship with former U.S. President Donald Trump, a key figure in the 2026 World Cup hosting setup. Some question if political relationships influence which geopolitical problems FIFA chooses to engage with.
It's not just these legal experts pushing for action, is it? Other groups are involved.
No. Amnesty International has also called for Israel's suspension, linking it directly to the alleged genocide and the ongoing expansion of those illegal settlements we mentioned.
And what about fans and players? Are we seeing pressure from within the game itself?
Definitely seeing it from the fans. There have been very visible displays of Palestinian flags at matches across Europe. Glasgow, Paris, Rome, Bilbao are mentioned, to grassroots expression of solidarity.
Any notable player reactions?
Mohamed Salah was quite critical of UEFA. After a Palestinian footballer, Suleiman Al-Abaid, was killed in an airstrike, UEFA posted a tribute, but Salah pointed out they failed to mention who killed him. It highlighted a feeling that UEFA is trying to remain neutral in a situation where many feel neutrality isn't appropriate.
So it boils down to consistency, doesn't it? If you suspend Russia, if you suspended South Africa, why not Israel, given the arguments being presented by these legal experts and human rights groups?
That's the core challenge being put to UEFA and FIFA. Can they apply their own rules and ethical codes consistently? Or are geopolitical considerations leading to selective enforcement? It's a debate that's clearly not going away.
A really complex and difficult situation. Okay, let's pause for a moment there. We've gone from the economics of the World Cup to the complex ethics facing UEFA. Just a reminder, if you want to keep track of all these developing stories, get different perspectives, and test your own football knowledge, head over to footballquizbanner.com.
Yeah, loads of great content there. Quizzes, news analysis, all sorts. Definitely check it out, footballquizbanter.com.
Right. Let's bring things back to the UK now. Plenty happening on the domestic front. Managerial changes, player news, and some rather dramatic weather impacts.
Starting down south with Sutton United. John Meany has left the club by mutual consent.
He wasn't there long, was he?
No, only joined as first-team coach in the summer of 2024. He then stepped up as interim head coach just this month.
Did he have much impact in that short time?
He did manage to steady things a bit, yeah. Secured important draws against Woking and Boston United. But, well, now he's departed. Always tough when there's that kind of quick turnover.
Up in Scotland now, news from Dumbarton regarding their goalkeeper, Brett Long.
Yeah, the Northern Irishman, Brett Long, he's gone out on loan to Beath, who play in the West of Scotland League. This is until January.
Is that for game time, or?
It's primarily for his recovery, actually. He's been battling a really serious Achilles injury. Kept him out for 10 months.
Ouch. Has he had injury trouble before?
He has, unfortunately. Before the Achilles, he had a serious ankle break that sidelined him for about 6 months, so he's really had a tough run.
So this loan is about getting back up to speed gently.
Exactly. Getting competitive minutes again, but maybe in a slightly less demanding environment than the SPFL, just to build confidence and fitness after such a long time out. He's clearly rated at Dumbarton, though, holds the club record for the quickest keeper to reach 10 league clean sheets. Hopefully this gets him back on track.
Now, some very sad news coming out of Brentford FC.
Yes, really sad news. The club announced the death of Chris Ramsey, their head of academy goalkeeping. He passed away on October 1st after a battle with bowel cancer.
That's terrible. He played a big part at Brentford, didn't he?
A huge part, by all accounts. He was really instrumental when they restarted their academy, joining back in June 2023, and he was promoted to head of academy goalkeeping just this past July.
What was his specific role?
He oversaw the whole goalkeeping program in the academy, but also worked closely with the first team setup with Manu Sotolo, the first team GK coach, and keepers like Mark Flecken and Hakan Valdemarsson. The club tributes highlighted his technical skill, but also his warmth and positive influence on everyone.
Are the club planning anything to remember him?
Yes, they've announced a full tribute plan for their upcoming match against Manchester City. There'll be a commemoration before kickoff, and the players will wear black armbands. A really fitting gesture for someone who clearly made a big impact.
A tough loss for the club. And just quickly, a Premier League result to note. Bournemouth beat Fulham 3-1.
Right, Bournemouth getting a solid win there.
Okay, now on to the weather. Storm Amy is really battering parts of the UK, particularly Scotland.
It really is. The Highlands and Islands are getting hit hardest.
Yeah.
We're talking serious disruption. The Met Office issued an amber warning that's pretty serious.
What kind of conditions are we talking?
Expected wind speeds of 45 to 65 miles per hour sustained, gusts potentially up to 70 or 80 miles per hour, and maybe even hitting 100 miles per hour in the most exposed coastal areas.
Right, you simply cannot play football in that.
Absolutely not. And as a result, the North of Scotland League Management Committee took the decision to cancel all their fixtures for the weekend, both Premiership and Championship matches.
All of them? Wow. Any specific examples?
Yeah, fixtures like Islevale versus Dubuque and Haven Hearts, Dufftown against Bantry St. Turnan, all off. The North Caledonian League also canceled its entire card. All 6 of their matches postponed too.
What was the reasoning? Just the wind?
Primarily safety, yes. Safety for players and fans traveling often to quite remote locations in that part of the world. But they also explicitly said the games would likely have been a farce in those conditions. The ball wouldn't stay still. It would be impossible to play properly.
Makes sense. What about the higher level games? Highland League, SPFL?
For now, those are still scheduled to go ahead. Games like Ross County versus Wraith Rovers, Hamilton versus Inverness Cayley Thistle. They're being monitored very closely, though, given that amber warning. Linfield's game over in Belfast is also keeping a close eye on conditions.
So a lot of uncertainty for fans and clubs in those leagues.
Definitely. Fingers crossed they can get played safely.
Okay, shifting from canceled games to games definitely happening, and the logistics for fans. Some important details for traveling supporters.
First up, the FA Cup 4th qualifying round tie between Morecambe and Chester FC. That's on October 11th, a 3:00 p.m. kickoff.
Ticket details for Chester fans.
Yes. Seated tickets are £17 for adults. Standing is £15. Key point. Prices go up by £2 if you buy on the day, so booking in advance saves a bit of cash.
Anything else for those traveling? Families?
2 important notes. Children under the age of 2 won't be admitted, and any under 14s must be accompanied by a responsible adult. Standard stuff, but always worth knowing. There's also a travel option. The Hipkiss Express coach leaving from Chester's Diva Stadium at 11 a.m. costs £25.
Good info for the traveling blues. Now there's also a very detailed joint statement out for the Hartlepool United versus York City match. Sounds like they're anticipating potential trouble.
It certainly reads that way. It's a joint statement from both clubs, the York City Supporters Trust, and references close work with Cleveland and North Yorkshire Police. It's a 12:30 p.m. kickoff, an early start often used for high-risk games.
What are the key measures for York fans?
Firstly, designated away pubs. They've specifically named Jackson Wharf and Rosie's Bar as welcoming away fans. Crucially, they've also stated that pubs on Church Square and Church Street itself will not be admitting away supporters. So plan your pre-match plank carefully if you're traveling.
Okay, that's clear. Anything else?
Yes, a dispersal order will be in place covering Hartlepool Town Center. It runs from 8 a.m. on the Saturday morning right through to 8 a.m. Sunday morning.
What does a dispersal order mean, practically?
It gives police the power to order individuals or groups who are behaving antisocially or are likely to leave the designated area and not return for a specified period. It's a proactive measure to prevent disorder.
Right, signals are taking it seriously. What about after the game? Getting away?
They've addressed this specifically. There's a possibility of a holdback for away fans after the final whistle, perhaps if there's been trouble or a tense finish. This would be communicated over the stadium PA system.
Fans hate holdbacks.
They do. But, importantly, the clubs have given a guarantee. Even if there is a holdback, it will not impact fans aiming for the 14.59 train back to York. That train is protected, essentially.
That's actually really good communication and planning.
It is. And they've also confirmed that British Transport Police based in North Yorkshire will be present on the return trains, presumably to ensure a smooth journey back for the York fans.
Very thorough planning there. Seems like all parties are trying to ensure safety.
Okay, let's move on to the England squads announced for the October internationals, starting with the seniors.
Right. Thomas Tuchel has named his 24-man squad. What are they preparing for?
2 important games coming up. First is the Alzheimer's Society International against Wales at Wembley on October 9th. Then, a crucial European qualifier away to Latvia in Riga on October 14th.
And these are big for World Cup qualification.
Potentially decisive, yes. Good results in these two could actually secure England's qualification for the 2026 World Cup from their group, Group K, so high stakes.
Any major ins and outs in the squad selection?
The big positive news is the return of Bukayo Saka. The Arsenal man missed the September games through injury, so having him back is a significant boost.
Definitely. Anyone else notable coming in?
Jarell Quansah, who's been impressing at Bayer Leverkusen, gets a call-up. Shows Tuchel is looking at defensive options playing abroad.
And who's missing out?
Tino Livramento and Noni Madueke are both unavailable due to injury, unfortunately for them.
The squad still reflects that trend of players based across Europe, doesn't it?
It really does. You've got Harry Kane at Bayern Munich, Marcus Rashford currently on loan at Barcelona from Manchester United, Ruben Loftus-Cheek doing well at AC Milan. It's not just Premier League based anymore.
A sign of the times. Okay, moving down to the under-21s, Lee Carsley's squad.
Yes, the MU21s also have UEFA U21 Euro qualifiers coming up.
Who are they playing?
They've got an away trip to Moldova on October 10th, and then they're back home to face Andorra on October 13th. That home game is being played at Derby County's Pride Park Stadium.
How's their qualifying campaign going so far?
They got off to a strong start in their bid to qualify for the 2025-26 tournament. They beat Kazakhstan 2-0 in their opening game.
Any familiar names scoring in that one?
Yes, the goals came from Ethan Nwaneri of Arsenal and Joby Bellingham of Borussia Dortmund, both of whom are in this current squad.
Serious talent coming through that pipeline. Bellingham, Niguan, Rico Lewis from Man City is in there too.
Exactly. It really feels like the U21s are that final stepping stone before the senior squad for many of these players getting top-level club experience.
And finally, the England MU20 squad.
Ben Futcher has named his squad for their October camp, which involves just one fixture this time.
Who was the opponent?
They'll be playing Switzerland on October 10th, and the match is taking place at St. George's Park.
How did they get on last time out?
They had a narrow defeat against Italy, but Jayden Danns managed to score, which is positive. It's all about development at this level.
What's interesting about the U20 squad list?
A key thing is the number of players currently out on loan gaining valuable first-team experience.
Like who?
Well, you've got goalkeeper Ely Harrison, who's at Shrewsbury Town on loan from Manchester United. Defender Jaden Makoma is up at Rangers on loan from Brentford. And forward Ethan Wheatley is getting minutes at Northampton Town, also on loan from Man United.
So these camps are vital for keeping tabs on those players while they're away from their parent clubs?
Absolutely. It ensures they remain part of the England pathway and allows the coaches to monitor their progress in competitive league environments, which is crucial for their transition from youth football.
Okay, we've covered the wind and rain canceling games in Scotland. Let's hop across the pond for a quick look at the NFL, where they play indoors sometimes. A recap of Thursday Night Football.
Indeed, no weather worries for this one. It was an NFC West divisional matchup. The San Francisco 49ers hosted the Los Angeles Rams, played in a fixed-roof stadium.
And the outcome?
A tight one. The 49ers pulled out a 26-23 win in overtime, a dramatic finish.
Who was the star of the show?
You'd have to say the 49ers quarterback, Mac Jones. He had a really impressive game, statistically threw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns.
But there was more to it than just the stats.
Definitely. He was visibly injured, limping quite heavily for a lot of the game after taking some big hits from the Rams pass rushers, Jared Verse and Byron Young.
He's the backup, isn't he? Filling in for Brock Purdy.
That's right. Purdy's injured, so Jones stepped in, and despite the injury tonight, he's now led them to a 3-0 record as a starter this season. Showed a lot of grit.
Sounds like the Rams had chances, though. How did they let it slip?
They made some absolutely crucial errors late in the game. Real head-and-hands moments for their fans, I imagine.
Like what?
Well, first, their kicker, Joshua Carty, had an extra point attempt blocked. That kept the scores level when they could have taken the lead.
Okay, that's costly.
Then, even worse, with just over a minute left in regulation time, their running back, Kyron Williams, fumbled the ball inside the 49ers' 1-yard line, just about to score the potential game-winning touchdown.
Oh, no. Fumbling on the goal line, that's a killer.
It really is. And then, to compound it, in overtime, the Rams had the ball first, drove downfield, but on 4th and 1, they gave it to Williams again, and he got stuffed.
Yeah.
Turnover on downs.
So, missed opportunities galore for the Rams. How did the 49ers capitalize?
Their defense made the huge play on that fumble. Defensive tackle Alfred Collins stripped the ball and recovered it. Massive swing.
The kicker came through.
Their kicker, Eddie Pinheiro, was clutch. He nailed a huge 59-yard field goal late in regulation to briefly give them the lead. Then, after the Rams missed an OT, he stepped up and calmly hit the 41-yard game winner.
Any other standout performances for the Niners?
Wide receiver Kendrick Bourne really stepped up. With some other receivers injured, he became Jones's go-to guy. Had 10 catches for 142 yards.
That's a big game.
Huge. 8 of his catches resulted in first downs, too, so he was consistently moving the chains. Showed real chemistry with Jones.
And a quick note on the Rams side, Puka Nacua continues his amazing start.
The incredible start to his career. NFL research confirmed that with his catches in this game, he now holds the league record for the most receptions by a player in their first 5 career games, 52 catches.
52 in 5 games. That's phenomenal production for a rookie.
Absolutely historic pace he's on. A bright spot for the Rams despite the tough loss.
Okay, quite the drama in the NFL then. Right, before we wrap things up and get to our final thoughts, we've covered a huge amount today, from World Cup costs in the thousands of dollars to geopolitical debates at UEFA, Scottish storms, and NFL overtime thrillers.
It's been a packed deep dive.
It certainly has. So, just one last reminder for you. For more great football content quizzes to test your mates, banter, news analysis like this, all the updates you need, make sure you visit footballquizbanter.com. Go check it out now. #TagTagOutro.
So let's try and pull the threads together from today's deep dive. What have we really learned?
Well, first, the 2026 World Cup. The financial reality is, frankly, looking pretty bleak for the average traveling fan.
Yeah, the data from the FSA, those ticket prices, minimum costs already doubling Qatar. It's forcing really tough questions about accessibility. And it's not just the cost. It's the uncertainty about where fans will even be placed in the stadiums.
A potential loss of atmosphere is a huge concern. The calls for FIFA to guarantee affordable allocations, especially behind the goals, are only going to get louder.
Then we had the incredibly complex situation with UEFA and the call from those legal experts to suspend Israel.
Citing UN reports, the documented impact on Palestinian football, and pointing directly at historical precedents like Russia and South Africa.
It puts UEFA in a really difficult position, questioning the consistency of how they apply their own rules and ethical standards in the face of geopolitical pressures. A major challenge to their leadership.
And back in the UK, we saw the more everyday dramas of football Sutton changing managers, Brett Long's injury comeback via loan, the sad loss of Chris Ramsey at Brentford.
And nature reminding everyone who's boss, with Storm Amy just wiping out grassroots football across the north of Scotland. A reminder of the logistical challenges lower down the pyramid.
So thinking about everything we've discussed, especially those World Cup costs, starting with that $2,000 plus price tag for the cheapest final ticket, we want to leave you, the listener, with a final question to think about.
Go on.
How can the relentless financial engine of these major tournaments, the drive for ever higher revenues, dynamic pricing, these astronomical costs, how can that possibly be reconciled with the ideal of protecting and including the traditional match-going crowd, the very people who create the atmosphere these tournaments sell themselves on?
When the cost itself becomes the barrier.
Exactly. When the price of entry excludes the very fans they claim to cherish. How does football square that circle? That seems to be a fundamental question about the future identity of the global game.
A massive economic and ultimately ethical question, and one that's only going to intensify as 2026 gets closer.
Indeed. Thank you for listening to the footballquizbanter.com Daily Football News Roundup. Be sure to check out our site now for more quizzes, banter, news, and updates.
And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook to stay connected.